Welcome, I'm David.
I'm Lindsay,
And
this is Desmonds Donders.
Hello and welcome to a Desmonds Donder Wednesday Waffle. Now, the last waffles have been on about a plan, and the plan is almost fully in place, and those that have expressed an interest will know where we're getting to, and if there's any deviation from that plan. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Well, I didn't really have a subject until last night for this waffle, and I was watching a channel which is usually pretty good, and he has a lot to say on electric vehicles, on alternative power, etc, etc. But him and a guest last night, or when the video was released rather, had made a couple of fatal flaws in their arguments, and if they get them knocked down, it's going to knock down all the other arguments by association. So hopefully they don't get discovered, but here is the real gen. Solar panels. The quote was that they're dirty, horrible, and spoil the environment, and are just as dirty and unenvironmental as any other form of alternative power. And they're only good in the summer anyway. I'm going to show you a clip which will show you this horrible mid-February day where the sun is flooding into my panels after a heavy weekend's use. Anyway, just to knock their arguments on the side. Rhetorical question, because I'm going to answer it anyway. Do you know how a solar panel is made? Well, it's glass, EVA, a doped layer of silica, I'll come back to, more EVA, and another panel of glass. And to large bits of the light spectrum, it's see-through. But to the bits we're interested in, it's not. So glass, largely silicon, largely sand. You know, yes, it needs heat to produce it, but then so does a lot of the other activities we get up to. Need some sort of heat, and they were inferring that it needs a blast furnace. Well, in the UK, the last blast furnace is shut down, and we've only got electric furnaces. So they're arguing from a false premise there, because the ordinary electric furnace, which could use renewables, which doesn't necessarily use renewables, so their argument that it could only be coal powered is nil. It's out of the window. The EVA sheet is it holds it together. It's a thin sheet of material which is mass produced for other things and holds it all together, and the silica is again sand, and the doping stuff is either to create holes or add electrons, so very small amount, but they're there to facilitate the production of electrical energy and the hit with solar. And if you want to do without the silica and the doped products of silica, then all your transistors have gone, all your chips are going to go, all your control circuits for these electric cars, which is the answer to everything, is going to go. Virtually every electronic device, in fact no, every electronic device depends on silicon. Electrical devices, well, you'd have to go back to producing light bulbs because you couldn't use LEDs, and so on and so forth. So if there are arguments there, the cases are largely aluminium. The solar panel itself, well, the two on our roof have been on, coming up for 8 years. In fact, coming up for 9 years for one of them. Let's not go there. They're made from aluminium, which is reusable, and so on and so forth. Almost 100% reusable form of energy. So once you've done with it, you don't actually need to replace anything but the doping material. So you could crack them open, set them up with a new layer of silicon, and you're good for another 25 plus years. I had one on a van which was used and second hand. I don't know how old it was, but it was on our van for nearly 10 years and was still pumping out as required. Yeah, you've got wires, I suppose, all that copper. Most of them aren't copper these days. In fact, they're aluminium or steel, because copper's so bloody expensive. And then there comes the bit, or one of the bits, of course, storage. During the summer, we notice that quite often our batteries are full by 8, 9, 10 o'clock at the latest. And we are running purely for the likes of the fridge, etc., off the panels. And the rest is dissipated as heat. And that brings us to the next problem, apparently, with solar panels. The problem is that the solar panels that you see across fields, across the areas where they're installed, they're installed on my van roof. They're all installed on a lot of van roofs, but I'm digressing. They have no access to the ground, so the ground underneath isn't warmed the same way it normally is. Have you heard about the efficiency of solar? Have you heard about how much energy is delivered to the ground by the sun? If you haven't, take a break, go and watch Brian Cox's Greatest Planet or Planet Earth or whatever, where he tells you how this works and how much energy lands on the earth and how much we take out. Just saying that a panel is only 98 to 10% efficient. Most of that is in light energy, light quanta, not in heat energy. And they also heat up the area beneath them, because there's waste energy in there as well. Energy that's not converted, but converted to heat. The interaction with the glass, etc. And the glass has got to be there to keep everything protected, so it keeps working, doesn't get degraded. So, there we have that argument that they put up, knocked back. Of course, you do have to have storage. I'm jumping around all over the place. And yeah, lead acid batteries are bad for the environment. Lithium batteries are bad for the environment. But if we're going to use renewables, we have to store. Now, when it comes to the big solar panels, they could be part of a pump storage scheme to produce electric at night. Pump storage scheme where you run the reservoir during the day, let out through the vanes and produce power when it's needed. Then at night, currently they use that any excess power, they take it back and pump the water back to the top. You could do that with stored solar if you wanted. There is all sorts of ways of managing that. Got to have storage. You cannot get away without storage. The equivalent of your petrol or diesel tank on your petrol or diesel vehicle. So lithium's not great for the environment. Lead, not great for the environment. That's where the concentration should be, on better batteries. Not on keeping this, keeping that, and not doing this and not doing that. We only have one planet. Solar is one way forward. It's one of my preferred ways forwards. Solar itself is fairly clean. It's the batteries cause a problem, but they cause a problem for all the other methods. I mean, look at wind energy. People who've tried it for motorhomes and caravans, etc. It's noisy in that form, and it not only is it noisy, it has to be stored. The energy from any form of renewable has to be stored unless it's running 100% of the time, in which case there is waste. But it could be shared with the rest of the world. If only we got on with the rest of the world and the rest of the world got on with us. A whole nother video. Anyway, I've had a bit of a say. I'm going to show you this again, if I haven't already shown you. Oh, it was doing better before, but in the time I've been speaking to you, I've pumped in an amp hour of energy using my solar on this cold but bright February day. There's a guy coming along with some drone footage. Yeah, it's me, I know. And at the same time, I'd ask you to join us next week. Next week we will be off on a Donder, but we're running a Christmas special. The 28th of January, February, and we're running, I know, 28th of February, and we're running a Christmas special. What's going on? Come and see what I've got for you next week. Enjoy the drone footage, and bye for now. Thank you for watching Desmonds Donders. And whatever you're doing in the countryside, please take nothing but memories and leave nothing but tracks. Please subscribe and ring that bell to be notified of our future videos.